did not run a great campaign, and you're going to keep losing if you insist that she ran a great campaign.
I'm saying, there was no model for the campaign that she had.
Donna Brazile just had a full-on political meltdown, caught live, and it's messier than ever. Still clinging to a fantasy where her side didn't lose, she went off the rails trying to rewrite history. But Maher, he wasn't having any of it. He came in cold, sharp, and surgical, obliterating her spin with brutal precision. One false claim from Donna, and he tore it down piece by piece. This wasn't a debate. It was a public dismantling. The hypocrisy, exposed. The takedown, ruthless. Let's get into the chaos.
The big issue, right, was immigration. And
inflation, immigration.
Those two are very big issues. And you asked Vice President Harris, why did you let all these people in for the last 4 years? She did not have an answer. I still don't know the answer. They actually could, with an executive order, shut it down as they did earlier this year. So why did they not do it 3 years earlier? And I think people felt she did not respond to that in any way. She had no answer on inflation, and she also seemed to represent that whole woke zone that people are sick to death of. And I think those three did it.
I agree with the first two, but I'm not going to get into this, oh, the people are too damn woke. That wasn't an issue.
Oh, Donna, keep pretending it wasn't a major issue, but the public made it loud and clear. They've had enough. The nonstop woke overload wore people down. Gender confusion pushed in classrooms, parents sidelined, and women's sports overrun by biological males claiming trophies. It wasn't progress. It was chaos packaged as virtue. Americans were suffocating under a tidal wave of forced ideology, shamed into silence if they dared to push back. And while real families struggled with soaring prices and an open border disaster, Kamala Harris was out here preaching about lived experiences and pronouns as if that pays the bills. The disconnect was stunning. The rage, palpable. Voters weren't confused, they were fed up, and they made that clear at the ballot box. So when I say Donna's unraveling, I'm not exaggerating. Even Bill Maher's had enough. And he's saying the quiet part out loud.
I disagree with you.
I know, and that's why you're going to keep losing.
No, man, look.
I mean, it's not to go. Okay. But not to go.
On July 21st at 1:41 p.m., when Joe Biden announced that he was going to step down, Kamala Harris had to step up. Now, what other Democrat could have stepped up in that period of time?
We're not arguing about that.
All right.
We're arguing the campaign she ran. They asked her what she would do differently. She said, I can't think of anything. That's terrible.
How do we trust a party that was telling us with a straight face that Joe Biden could be president for 4 more years without any problem whatsoever? That's what the Democrats were telling us. It was a massive lie. We saw through it. Everyone saw through it.
Did you see him this week? Could you imagine if we were just starting on the next term?
Another brutal truth the Democrats refused to face, and Bill Maher didn't hold back on, is the nonstop gaslighting straight from the White House. Everyone could see it. Joe Biden wasn't just slipping. He was unraveling, wandering off mid-speech, shaking hands with thin air, clutching cue cards like a lost tourist in his own presidency. And yet, Donna Brazile and crew swore he was fine, fit, focused, ready for 4 more years. Please. And the backup plan? Even more disastrous. Kamala Harris was supposed to be the future. She ended up being the punchline. No vision, no plan, just endless stammering and awkward laughter. When asked what she'd do differently as president, she delivered yet another incoherent word salad full of buzzwords and zero substance. It was like watching a student who didn't read the book try to fake their way through the final exam. The voters, they saw right through it. Kamala wasn't just unready. She was painfully lost. Every public appearance was a masterclass in saying nothing at all, while somehow sounding smug doing it. Remember the "time is the passing of time" moment? That wasn't a fluke. That was the brand. And the media? Complicit. They twisted reality, cut interviews, and spun disaster into poise. But now, the mask is slipping. A leaked interview from CBS's 90 Minutes shows the raw, unfiltered Kamala, and it's a train wreck. What aired was bad. What didn't? Way worse. Let me show you exactly what they didn't want you to see.
The work that we do diplomatically with the leadership of Israel is an ongoing pursuit around making clear our principles. Well, let's start with this. On this subject, the aid that we have given Israel allowed Israel to defend itself against 200 ballistic missiles that were just meant to attack the Israelis and the people of Israel. And I think that is the most recent example of why what we do to assist in their defense around military aid is important. And when we think about the threat that Hamas, Hezbollah presents, Iran, I think that it is without any question our imperative to do what we can to allow Israel to defend itself against those kinds of attacks. Now, the work that we do diplomatically with the leadership of Israel is an ongoing pursuit around making clear our principles, which include the need for humanitarian aid, the need for this war to end, the need for a deal to be done which would release the hostages and create a ceasefire.
If you actually understood what Kamala just mumbled through in that unedited clip, please drop a translation in the comments because I'm lost. Was that supposed to be English or a performance art piece? CBS had to chop up her answer just to make it sound remotely logical. They sliced out the awkward pauses, cut the nonsense rambling, and stitched together a Frankenstein edit of the least embarrassing parts. And this was the person the woke machine tried to crown as America's next great leader, a VP who can't get through a basic question without sounding like she's reading out loud for the first time. They called her a trailblazer, a genius, a historic force. But take away the media bubble wrap, and what's left? Nerves, gibberish, and zero depth. The American people saw the raw version, and they weren't fooled. It's almost insulting how they thought no one would notice. But you can't edit your way into credibility. If you need a full broadcast crew just to survive a softball interview, you're not leading anything. You're barely staying afloat. And if you think that Meltdown was a one-off, buckle up. Here's another jaw-dropping moment from former Vice President Kamala Harris that'll leave you wondering how this ever got past rehearsal.
We're not going to stop pursuing what is necessary for the United States to be clear about where we stand on the need for this war to end. The work that we have done has resulted in a number of movements in that region by Israel that were very much prompted by or a result of many things, including our advocacy for what needs to happen in the region. And we're not going to stop doing that. We're not going to stop pursuing what is necessary for the United States to be clear about where we stand on the need for this war to end.
Honestly, it's almost a skill at this point. Donna Brazile will blame literally anything for the election loss, except Kamala Harris, as if the vice president had zero responsibility after 4 years in office. Come on, this isn't rocket science. When asked a basic question about U.S. policy on Israel, not a curveball, not a trap, Kamala delivered yet another mind-melting word scramble. No clarity, no strategy, just awkward rambling that made it painfully obvious. She had no grip on the issue. This is exactly why the wheels came off. Biden was drifting into delusion, and Kamala, his heir apparent, looked like she wandered into the job by accident. Voters saw it. They watched the train wreck happen in real time. But instead of course-correcting, Democrats buried their heads and played pretend. Kamala's a powerhouse, they told us, while she couldn't even fake a coherent answer on foreign policy. It was gaslighting on a national scale, and when it came time to vote, the people delivered the verdict. No more denial, no more disaster, and definitely no more Kamala. The circus packed up, and America slammed the tent shut.
From CBS's perspective, Jack, they clearly made a calculus over here, and I'm not sure it was fully thought through or it's coming to fruition the way they thought, because I don't think they actually changed anybody's minds in terms of the coherence or succinctness of Kamala Harris as a communicator. She had been well established as somebody who was prone to rambling. This term word salad has become a phrase that everybody's familiar with her.
Like we said before, the media wasn't just complicit, they were leading the charge, doing everything in their power to shove Kamala Harris down America's throat. But here's the kicker. It failed. miserably. No slick edit, no puff piece, no glowing headline could mask the train wreck unfolding in real time. Every raw, unfiltered clip told the real story. Kamala was outmatched, unready, and in way over her head. Instead of holding her to any standard, the media coddled her. They cleaned up her word salads, cut out the worst moments, and pretended she was crushing it. Meanwhile, voters were watching the raw footage and thinking, are they serious? And that's where the Democrats blew it. The spin couldn't save her. The voters weren't buying the fantasy. Harris came across as tone-deaf, directionless, and painfully unqualified, and the election results showed just how badly that strategy bombed. That's exactly what Bill Maher was warning Donna Brazile about. You can't polish failure. Propping up someone who can't even handle basic questions isn't strategy. It's political suicide.
Was it appropriate to bury the Hunter Biden?
You're talking about the press doing that?
He's saying that's what they did, and that is what they did. They buried the Hunter Biden story before the election because they were like, we can't risk having the election thrown to Trump. We'll tell them after the election.
And we know for a fact that that's what they did?
Of course. You don't
but
follow
I mean,
this.
saying you know for a fact that that's what they did. I don't know what they did.
I know, because you only watch MSNBC.
No, that's not true.
After Maher's fiery takedown lit up the airwaves, social media erupted, and the applause was deafening. One user nailed it. I respect that Maher is willing to say what every honest American already knows. Another quipped, Bill Maher's finally peeking around the curtain of reality. But the real heat came from commenters unloading on the Democrats for the nonstop charade. One scathing reply read, if they can keep a dementia patient as president for 4 years, why wouldn't they script and edit Kamala's interviews within an inch of their life? And this burn hit especially hard. She talks like she got a 500-word essay assignment and only has 25 words of content. The verdict? Brutal but clear. If the Democrats want even a shot at recovering, they need to do some serious soul-searching. And that starts at the top. The messaging is tone-deaf. The policies are disconnected. And Kamala Harris? Voters have spoken loud and clear. She's not the future. One user summed it up best. She's a political dead end. There's no path forward with Harris in charge. The public is done with leaders who only know how to talk but not lead. If the party keeps doubling down on this losing hand, they're in for another collision with reality. At some point, they'll have to choose: cling to the delusion or clean house before it's game over. Now, here's Bill Maher's mic drop moment.
The woman the media tried to tell us was a competent and visionary leader, an orator. Yes, it's Kamala time.
For those rights to be maintained, which means we have to be vigilant, and it's just the nature of it.
Oh, I'm not sure if that's Kamala time or happy hour. The former Veep appears to be unburdened by sobriety.
Lastly, this wasn't just a loss. It was a collapse. Democrats didn't trip, they face-planted. And why? Because they paraded around a president who visibly struggled to finish thoughts, wandered off during speeches, and literally looked confused at his own events. They backed a VP who needed media bodyguards and post-production magic just to form a halfway coherent sentence. This wasn't leadership, it was political theater. And the audience walked out. Rather than confront the obvious cracks in the foundation, the Democrats pulled the blinds tighter. They gaslit the nation, insisting Harris was a sharp, prepared leader while editing out every blunder, every word salad disaster that spilled from her mouth. But here's the truth. The American people aren't blind. They watched the bloopers. They saw the uncut interviews. They heard the nervous laughter and the nonsensical rants about the passage of time being a time that passes. And they had enough. Bill Maher called it before it was trendy. Whitewashing Harris? It's political suicide. You can't slap a shiny label on dysfunction and expect the public to eat it up. If the Democrats keep recycling the same failed leadership, repeating the same out-of-touch messaging, and shielding their candidates from reality with media smoke and mirrors, they won't just lose again. They'll get wiped out. The voters want answers, not ambiguity. Strength, not spin. Substance, not slogans. So here's the real question. Will the Democrats wake up and clean house? Or will they keep rearranging deck chairs on a sinking ship? Because make no mistake, America doesn't want another term of babbling speeches, confused leadership, and cringeworthy interviews edited into submission. The circus left town, and if the party doesn't course correct, it won't just be Kamala's political career that's over. That's it for today's Takedown. If you're tired of the gaslighting and the constant insult to our intelligence, smash that like button, subscribe for more truth bombs, and share this with someone who still thinks Kamala Harris is the answer. Trust me, they need it. We'll be watching, we'll be talking, and we won't stop until the noise is gone and the truth is loud. This is just the beginning. See you in the next video.